All right, we are live. Well, I am live. I'm flying solo tonight, Justin Jarrett, on my own on a Saturday night here on the Lowco Pigskin live show. Wes is out in Chicago visiting friends, having a good time, enjoying himself. So good for him. Glad to have him, getting a little time away. He works so hard for us to keep you guys informed about high school sports here in the Low Country. Trace is also away. And Dylan back home in Dorchester and was not able to join us tonight. So I'm flying solo, but I've got some special guests lined up to help me talk about tonight's games. I was out at Estill where the Gators survived and extended their program history by another week. They beat Carver's Bay 12-6 with a terrific defensive effort. These teams combined for 125 points last week in their first round wins. Gators needed a last minute kickoff return touchdown from Jamaris Miller to win that game, and they survived. And then this week they play a defensive struggle, and they win it 12-6 over Carver's Bay. And actually, we thought we might have Nick Shuford on first, but we're mixing it up. Oh, we got both of them in here now. We'll let Shu keep driving home and listen to us while he drives, and maybe he'll get settled in front of a computer by the time he gets home. But we got Roman Singleton lined up. So Shu, you focus on driving, buddy, and we'll get Roman Singleton in here to talk about the Estill Gators. Big time win tonight at home. Roman, you and I connected earlier in the season over at Whale Branch and got to see it tonight. And you're the head man in charge tonight because Coach Livingston, I guess he got the early exit last week against Hannah Pamplico, so he got sound tonight. Is that what I
that's right. That's definitely right.
Yeah, got to keep your head right. So a little bit different game tonight. You're a defensive guy, so it was a defensive game. You had to enjoy that a little bit. Your heart maybe not hurting quite as much this week as it was last week, but talk about the atmosphere tonight at Estill. It was hyped. The place was packed, and your guys played terrific on defense. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, Coach. They really did, man. Like the atmosphere was amazing because, as usual, our crowd, our fans, they come out there, especially when we're doing our thing. And you're right, it definitely was a defensive game. Like I was totally excited when we were at halftime and it was 0-0. I was like, "Hey guys, we're in a defensive game tonight, baby. This is exactly what we want." We have to redeem ourselves, especially from last week, because we had to take our hats off to Hannah Pamplico because, man, those guys are amazing and they're a young team. So I advise everybody to watch out for them coming up in the future because they are really going to be good. But like tonight with Carver's Bay, which is like a historical tradition as a football powerhouse program, like we really had to be on the ball tonight. And I'm really glad and super proud of the guys for their effort and their tenacity, especially with overcoming adversity, because they were a little bit annoyed, honestly, about not being able to score. And I was like, well, hey, guys, this is what happens when you're playing championship football. These are the type of games that you prepare for since the summer, all those hot slaving type days. Those are the games. These are the games that we're playing. This is what we do over the summer for these type of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they really buckled down. I thought there was an opportunity there to kind of fold your tent a little bit. You've been fighting all night, nothing going your way. And then Kayvon gets, tripped up on the deep pass and it ends up an easy interception. They're set up on their 12, but man, your defense buckled down, stopped them there on the goal line. And I thought that was kind of the turning point. I thought you saw some confidence there, like, hey, our defense ain't going to let them score. We got this if we can just put it in the end zone one time.
Facts. And I think we really got major help when we were able to finally get a turnover when it was late in the third and we got that deep fumble. That fumble recovery that really put us in prime position to be able to punch it in. And I was like, all right, whew. Everybody had a sigh of relief at that point. We were like, whew, finally got one. Thank goodness. It's going to be this type of game, man, where it might, because like we were telling the guys, it might boil down to the type of game where you only score. One team only scores one time. And if it's going to be like that, we need to make sure that we are playing sound, smart Gator football and not allowing for too many mistakes to overcome us.
Yep. Yeah, excellent work. A little frustrating for Xavier Garvin tonight. He wasn't able to do his thing as much as he likes back there at quarterback. But, you got some guys involved and were able to do something going. And then the huge play was from Desmond Mathis. And I got to tell you, my little man Hades on the sideline, we were talking about how you were going to finally score. I said, maybe the defense does it. He goes, yeah, pick 6. And I said, is it going to be Jamaris or X? And he said, no, it's going to be Dez. And Dez comes up pick six. So Hades called that one from the sideline.
I'm glad he did, man, because our little freshman, man, he was out there feeling a little nervous. I was like, hey, man, you're doing fine. Yeah, but coach, he keeps getting me on the slant. And I'm like, hey, man, you just got to give him 2 bunny hops, man. You're playing in the outside move pretty hard, and that's really how he's getting inside. But I guarantee you, later towards the game, if we're actually up, they're going to go back to that window, or they're going to go back to that post corner route that we were getting earlier. And luckily, they went for the window call. They went for the window call. He played it perfectly. I mean, open hips, great speed turn, sat on the ball, sat on the flag well, and pulled out the interception, man. I'll tell you one thing, his mom was extremely proud, like super proud. She couldn't stop jumping up and down.
Yeah. Well, the whole town seems to be proud of you guys. Been great turnout tonight. You guys are sitting out 11-1, and you'll be at home again next week against Cross. And like I said, every win now, it extends the program history, and you can tell that the guys are, they feel the weight to that. They understand the importance of that, and they're playing to keep Gator football going as long as they can. So, what can you just say about this group of kids and about, how they've rallied around this concept that this is the last go and you're going to make the most of it?
Honestly, they're some of the greatest kids we've ever coached, like from middle school. Like, this is a cohort of students who have been playing since they were younger kids through the rec league. We got them in middle school. And since middle school, they've really been on the mentality of making history. Because when they go into the gyms and they see all of the basketball banners, because, we're traditionally a basketball school. When they see all the basketball banners, they were the type of kids that would ask, like, hey, coach, where's all the football banners? Well, we got to make them. Don't worry, coach. We'll get y'all some banners. And I think that's the most important thing about them as a young cohort, because we only have like 5 seniors, right? So we're literally playing off the strength of the pride of our juniors and sophomores from, the tenacity that they brought coming in for the middle school program. So, like, that's the number one thing I can say about them, being that young, hungry, and having a true love for the game. I think it's benefit them in way more ways this season than in the previous seasons. And I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to see what those guys will be able to do in the future.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Hampton took it on the chin tonight against Oceanside, which shouldn't even be a 2A school. We can get into that conversation another day. But they took it on the chin pretty good, 71-27 tonight. But the guys that they have coming back, put with that junior class that you have and those sophomores and some of the freshmen who are stepping up. Man, that's a dangerous proposition for some people next year, the Hampton County Hurricanes. If you can figure out how to meld them together into one, it's going to be something special.
You're absolutely right. I think they will be a dangerous unit. Like, when we heard about the score from Hampton, we were like, oh, man. They definitely wouldn't do us like that if we were all together this year. That score would have been a lot tighter. That game would have been a lot tighter. But
and again, that's apples to oranges. Wade Hampton playing Oceanside Collegiate, where that's not
right.
The
world
we should not be in the
world
same
we're living in, right? Exactly. The world we're living
But again, that's a conversation for another day. But hey, Coach, we got Coach Shuford waiting to talk about that Thomas Hayward game, so we'll let you get out of there and get on with your life. I know the dog's waiting for some attention back there.
I'm telling you, hear him in the background. I'm like, guys, relax.
Well, it's great to see you out there tonight, and it's great to know that you guys will be back out there again Friday night against Cross. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Man, thank you so much, Jared, for real. And I can't wait to see you again, man. Hopefully you can catch us in another game.
Right on, brother. Take care.
You too, man.
All right, Roman Singleton, my new best friend, connected with him over at the Whale Branch game. Beaufort High alum, terrific guy, and he and Marcus Livingston have done a great job with that coaching staff and that team at Estill. Just unbelievable season they're having over there. But we got Nick Shuford made it all the way home, and he's been waiting patiently. So let's get him in here to talk about Thomas Hayward football. Shu, you guys are headed back to the state championship game. Oh, your mic is not connected, it says. So there we go. There we're connected. You guys are headed back to the state championship game. Going to try for 5 in a row and familiar opponent with Lee Academy. But before we get to talking about that a little bit, you were worried about this matchup when we talked earlier this week. You did not like this matchup with Calhoun, but you guys came out, punched them in the mouth. It was 29-0 at halftime, 36-0 before they got on the board, and you rolled to a 43-22 win. So what were you guys able to do that overcame what you saw as a difficult matchup?
We felt good about our offensive game plan going into it, that we'd be able to put up some points. We were just worried about being able to get our defense off the field. And they opened up, I want to say it was a 15 play drive to start the game, ate up about 7 minutes of the clock. And we were able to buckle down in the red zone and stop them on fourth, and scored on our first offensive play after that. And I think that would just kind of demoralize them. And defense really stepped up after that, and we're able to shut them out the rest of the half and most of the third quarter with our starters.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are definitely a little bit leaner this year in terms of roster size and size. I mean, your line is not small by any means, but you don't have the kind of size up there that you've had in years past. So I can see why you're a little concerned about that power run game of Calhoun. But who were the guys who stepped up over on that side of the ball and shut them down?
There were a ton of guys on the defensive side tonight. Lawson Hewlett, Anthony Fripp, both of the Robinson twins. Bo Pinkney played a heck of a game. Tonio Banner did. The defense really stepped up and really buckled down after that first drive, and really gave them a fit all night.
Yeah, you've had to do it a little different this year. I mean, you've been able to kind of platoon a little bit in the past, have guys who specialized on offense or defense. That is not a luxury you have this year. You've got some Iron Men out there. Fripp and O'Banner have been just yeomen playing on both sides of the ball. You mentioned Bo Pinkney, man. He really impressed me when I was out there to the Patrick Henry game. He had 20-some tackles in that game. Incredible. But how much do you sense that this team is determined that they're not going to be the one that lets the stick in?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at roster size and size up front, just straight height and weight, we're not supposed to be back here. But these guys, they've really bought into playing for each other and doing it for one another. And I mean, that's kind of what they're thriving on right now. And I mean, I know it sounds weird since we've won 4 in a row, but they're really playing with a chip on their shoulder, because a lot of people didn't expect us to be back here this year.
Well, I think you'll be the underdogs, so to speak, in the championship game, which when you're the 4-time defending state champion and somebody says you're the underdog, that kind of pisses you off a little bit. You're like, hold on, how many years in a row have we beat these guys? What do we got to do here? But tell me a little bit about looking ahead to that matchup, because definitely there's some blood there. I wouldn't say necessarily bad blood, but there's a bad taste in their mouth for sure about getting to the mountaintop a couple times and being denied by you guys. So they want you. This is going to be a very physical, hard-fought game. What do you expect?
I expect just that.
Yeah,
they definitely going to be hungry to play against us. They've got a very experienced team. Most of their team's back from last year, so they're a year older and a year bigger and stronger. But it is going to be a dogfight for sure. They're going to want to do the same thing kind of we've seen the last 2 weeks, is just line up and punch us in the mouth, and we've got to be able to answer that.
Yeah, so far so good. And, I've been saying for weeks, I'm not betting against Thomas Hayward against a 1A team until somebody beats them, because, you guys have proven it time and time again. You're always ready for the challenge. So looking forward to getting up to Charleston Southern. It's become an annual tradition, and I love getting up there. Well, that's a great venue, by the way. Would you agree with me that is the best venue we've had for SCISA championships?
100%. They do a great job. It's gorgeous and plenty of room for everybody, and they do a great job.
It's beautiful. I mean, the weather always seems to be great too. So hopefully we get the same thing next weekend. We'll have a doubleheader with you guys in the 1A game at noon, and then Colleton Prep against Williamsburg at 3:30 for the 2A game. So should be good times, and we'll see you up there, man. Appreciate you, and congratulations on another win and another trip to state.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jarrett. Appreciate it.
All right, take care, man. All right, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and then I'll be back to show you the highlights from big wins for Thomas Hayward and Estill here in round 2 on Lowco Pigskin Live.
This podcast is made possible by our sustaining sponsors. Our original sponsor, Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of LowcoSports.com. Go see Ryan and Tiffany and the Mickle Squad for all your legal needs and support the local businesses that support Lowco. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling the best pies in Bluffton and on Hilton Head, but don't sleep on the mac and cheese. Star Home Services, official residential cleaning service of Lowco Sports. Sometimes you just don't want to clean. Call on Carla and her amazing team to do the dirty work at a great price and tell them Lowco sent you. 843 Sport, the official training center of Lowco Sports. No matter your game, 843 Sport is the place to take it to the next level. They're bringing all the area's top trainers and some of the best elite travel teams from various sports under one roof at 843 Sport. DDS Web Design, the official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If you have a business and you want to get found, look no further than DDS. They can build an attractive and effective website loaded with all the cutting-edge SEO tools you need to show up where people are looking, on Google. Dave and Denise will get it done. Additional support provided by Cannon Specialty Services, Bluffton Pest Control, Next Move, The Fit Club in Belfair Town Village, and our Patreon members. Join today for $1 or more per month at patreon.com/LowcoSports to get early or exclusive access to our local sports content and exclusive Lowco swag. And thank you to our past recurring sponsors, including Horizon Rehabilitation and Physical Therapy, Coastal Plains Insurance of the Lowcountry, 4M Metals, Hilton Head Insurance and Brokerage, Brody's Bar and Grill, and AGC Gutter Company. Thank you for supporting our mission to create quality local sports content that celebrates our teams and athletes. Go Lowco!
All right. Thanks to all of our sponsors who support this crazy dream of mine to create this local sports outlet and keep it going year after year. And we appreciate you and hope you appreciate us. We did mention Patreon in there. If you are a big fan of Lowco Sports or you'd like to support what we do, you can pledge $1 or more per month at patreon.com/Lowco Sports, and you'll get early and exclusive access to even more sports content, as well as some Lowco swag. And we're going to update. I keep saying we're going to do this, but we are going to update our Patreon levels. Going to work on that over the holidays and try to make that a little more appealing so we can get a little more support out there. But we appreciate you and appreciate those who support us along the way. Let's get some highlights rolling for you guys. We're going to start out with Thomas Hayward. Got some highlights courtesy of Thomas Hayward student Kellen Fripp. You know his brother's name, Anthony Fripp, star running back. But here we go with Kellen Fripp. He's a hooper, and he's also a pretty good videographer. Going to get better and better the more he does it, too, let me tell you. Got Tony O banner, Tony O touchdown, breaking it off, 75 yards to open the scoring for Hayward. You heard Nick Shuford say that Calhoun put together a long drive to open the game, but couldn't get it in the end zone. And then Tony O'Banner answers with a 75-yard touchdown run to get Thomas Hayward on the way. Anthony Fripp had a couple TD runs. Here's the second one, powering over the goal line from 5 yards out. He also had a 25-yard touchdown. And then I think we got Tony O'Banner, that looks like. Might have been a 2-point conversion run. Now we got D-Money, or is it Nicholas Robinson? They are indistinguishable. One of them goes in. I think that was Nicholas Robinson for the 35-yard touchdown. Also had a touchdown run from Tyshawn Mansell, as well as a second one from Fripp. So big game on the ground for the Rebels, and they're headed back to the state championship game once again. Going to go for number 5 in a row against Lee Academy on Saturday at Charleston Southern. But let's get to the highlights from this Estill game. It was a heck of a game and a heck of a crowd out there at Estill tonight. Got the Gator out in full form. Late arriving crowd, I would say. Those stands were full by the end of the game. Roman Singleton, you heard from him earlier in the show. He's the defensive coordinator, but he was the acting head coach tonight with Marcus Livingston suspended for tonight's game. There was no scoring in the first half, and then Carvers Bay with an interception had a chance at the 12, set up at the 12, but a fourth down stop there from the Gators, who had a couple of big goal line stands. Mandrell Garvin with a couple of big plays in a row to stop Carvers Bay once. This was just a defensive battle. Carvers Bay did a terrific job of frustrating that offense, and then the defense pounced. A fumble recovery for Estill set them up across midfield, and really was the break they were looking for because they just could not get the offense going. And then on fourth down, Jerron Brown takes it in for the touchdown, opens the scoring. That made it 6-0. They were denied on the 2-point conversion. You can hear the crowd getting hype. I've got the volume potted way down on this. And then we got Carvers Bay going to the air, and there is Desmond Mathis, as predicted by Hades. I don't know Hades' last name, but he called that one 100% at the end of the third quarter. And Desmond Mathis takes it to the house. It's 12-0. Just got a clip in here of Jameel Bobean because I love to watch this guy run. He is so fast and slippery. He had some nice carries tonight on a night when yards were hard to come by. Carvers Bay did put it in the end zone in the final minute. Finally got it in the end zone. Estill not happy to give up the shutout, I assure you, because they had played really hard to preserve it all night long, and then an errant punt snap set it up. But they're partying in Estill tonight. They're going to play one more week at least. They're going to host Cross next week in the third round of the playoffs, and terrific story out there. And thanks so much to Roman Singleton for coming on and talking with us about it a little bit more. We certainly hope to be able to cover that story for a few more weeks and hopefully bring a state championship back to Estill in their final season before they merge with Wade Hampton, and form the Hampton County Hurricanes. But if they do win a state title, it may be the first of many, because that's going to be a really terrific program that's going to make some noise in the coming years. So thanks again to Nick Shuford from Thomas Hayward for jumping on. Congratulations to the Rebels headed to their 5th straight state championship game. And then thanks again to Roman Singleton for jumping on to talk about the Estill Gators, who march on into the next round. Wade Hampton fell 71-27 to Oceanside Collegiate. Oceanside just an absolute juggernaut with Division I talent everywhere, playing in Class 2A, which is a wild situation. But moving on to next week, we're going to have still quite a few teams fighting on in the playoffs. Buford advanced with a wild 45-42 win over Crestwood on Friday. Casey Fields a couple rushing touchdowns and a kickoff return for a score. Caleb Ulmer, Samari Bonds, and Colton Ferries all had second half rushing touchdowns. The Eagles were down 28-10 and came back to win that one. So they are going to take on either Gilbert or Manning, and we'll check this one out in real time and tell you who they're going to face. Somebody watching this already knows for sure. Going to take on Gilbert next week. That was expected. That will be at the Nest. So back on Ladies Island next week for a big-time matchup. Buford against Gilbert in the lower state semifinals in Class 3A. Then we've got Estill against Cross, also on Friday night out in Estill. And then we've got Colleton Prep headed to the state championship game in Skeeza Class 2A. They'll take on Williamsburg Academy at 3:30 Saturday at Charleston Southern. And that will be right after Thomas Hayward faces Lee Academy for the Skeeza 1A title at noon. And we'll definitely be there to get you all the details, the highlights, and everything else. And we'll have it on locosports.com and here on Loco Pigskin Live. Thanks so much to those who joined us tonight, both the guests and the viewers, as well as to our sponsors. And we'll do it again next week. Until next time, go Loco.